Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we have Connor Foley, an artist who specializes in dark art tattoos. We talk about being obsessed over your craft, facing failure, and creating a welcoming shop environment. Enjoy.
So those are kind of my jams.
Yeah, I was looking over your work again before for our second conversation. You do have, again, it's a unique style. You don't see a lot of people doing this kind of work, but like we were talking about last time, you kind of it fits. It seems like with your personality, growing up as a metalhead, and it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I think metal definitely influenced the aesthetic pretty heavily, but yeah, it is pretty niche. There are like a lot more people than you'd think, kind of doing it. But even within the community, it's kind of a relatively niche style, but even the guys doing it, everyone's got their own specific flavor to it, which is pretty cool.
So, does everybody in your shop kind of do the same style?
No.
Okay.
Right now it's like we've still got 3 stations open right now that I'm going to try to rent out. We opened this location expanded. It was just me before, but opened this location in November, and I've just been super busy, so I've not really gotten to put out a whole lot of ads and stuff, but that's on my docket here for this month. But like right now, the other full artist that's in there, Don, he does like, there's kind of a dark tinge to it, but he has like a lot of heavy influence in kind of like neo-trad, kind of neo-Japanese stuff, kind of mixing almost like, like neo-trad or like traditional, where there's the big bold lines and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll kind of do like stuff like that, but then like the shading on the inside of those things are like realistic and stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Like, I started off doing American traditional neo-trad, and that's how I kind of try to approach like the shading and stuff. And he has just perfected that, and it is awesome. But he's a really versatile dude too. He's been tattooing for a long time. My apprentice, she also very versatile as far as art. Like her art is insane. Like she's like, you can pretty much give her anything and she's gonna create something cool. Just got her started on practice skin, but she's probably gonna end up veering more towards like lots of color work and stuff. So that'll be cool. And we just started apprenticing my wife as well.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's been a long time coming. Like she managed tattoo shops long before she ever met me and whatnot. So she pretty much manages and runs the studio and like a lot of the booking and logistics of that stuff. And yeah, it's just been over time. I mean, she is pretty good at art when she puts her time. She's like, yeah, I guess I can kind of do it. And I'm like, no, you can do it. And so she's finally come around to the idea. She's like, I think, yeah, this is the move. It's kept calling me, and tattooing kind of chooses you. At some point, she's like, I think it's time to make the full full switch and commitment. So I'm really excited about that.
That's pretty cool, man. I don't know if I've ever talked to anybody that's going to have their wife apprentice under them. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where with most people that could be tough, but I'm lucky to say my wife is my best friend, man. Like we do most everything together. Somehow we haven't gotten sick of each other. So like, knock on wood. Like, but yeah, it's a really blessed to have her and grateful for her, and excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be fun, man, especially if you guys have, like you said, your best friends. Because I know with some relationships, it could probably be hard to work with your wife or have your spouse be the person like teaching you. And I've definitely had relationships in the past where I'm always wrong. It doesn't matter if I know what I'm doing, I'm always wrong. So I don't think I could teach some people. But yeah, man, that sounds cool. That sounds like it'll be a fun experience for both of you.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm really stoked for it.
Yeah. So take me through how you got into being a tattoo artist, like your apprenticeship. I mean, like we talked last time, again, you said, you've always been somebody into art, and it just kind of evolved from there to becoming a tattoo artist.
Yeah, I mean, Dude, in all fairness, it's like, I was the kid in class always doodling and drawing. Like I always loved art classes and stuff, but beyond being an art teacher, I did not think there was anything you could really truly do with art. They could make you money. But so that was my original plan, was going to art school to become a high school art teacher. And I dropped that after about a year of the curriculum. I taught skiing for, almost 10 years at that point, and just kind of realized it's like, dude, I don't know if, like, I do enjoy teaching when I do it, but I don't know if I would want to commit to like, being a full-time teacher like that. So, but at this point, then I moved out after a year of college in northern Minnesota at St. John's University. I moved out to Colorado in Fort Collins, kept pursuing my, art degree there. And during that time, it's like I always wanted tattoos, always liked tattoos, but it was just not something where I grew up that was on the radar. You know what I mean? Like the things I was into, metal, etc., and whatnot, was not commonplace. Like definitely kind of on that, out on that. But I got out here and there's like tattoo shops all over the place. So, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna put something together, I'm gonna go get it done. And during my first one, I started like, walking the shop, started seeing the process and everything, and something kind of clicked where I was like, okay, so this isn't completely like out of reach. It's like I was looking, I was like, this kind of makes sense. Like maybe this is the move. And of course, then not having any context and being completely ignorant, and I'll own this. Like I started the wrong way and started scratching, just doing it here and there. Got like a little kit through like a friend's brother or something. I can't remember how that came about, but did a couple, kind of like did that here and there for about a year, and was just like, during that time I was like, okay, I'm gonna mess with these different art styles, and started like pushing into like traditional Japanese and just exploring kind of tattoo art styles. And after about a year, that's when I started looking for an apprenticeship. And again, due to my own ignorance of, starting on my own and scratching, and asking around and stuff, and pretty much the second thing, yeah, I've been doing this, on my own, teaching myself for like a year. And people be like, yeah, dude, get the fuck up out of here. I'm like, why is everyone so mean?
Yeah.
Looking back, rightfully so. They were absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
But I finally, in the band I was in, through the drummer at the time, he had a buddy that was an artist that just moved out from Minnesota, and he agreed to take me on. And so did that for a while. Like, all truth and fairness, he was an amazing dude. I learned a good bit there, but it was not a very traditional or well-rounded apprenticeship. He was an addict, and like he was sober for the first 6 or 9 months that I was with him. And then he kind of got back in, and he kind of always had the roller coaster, using, not using, back and forth, kind of as long as I knew him. And yeah, so he was like kicked out of shops. So I was still like learning from him, going to like his place or different things like that. Just trying to pick up what I could. It's like I could go and watch him for a while, ask questions and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, now go and try to apply it. So after a couple of years of that, I finally asked him, I was like, yo, what's the deal? And he was like, well, you know what the fuck to do, go get a job. And I was like, well, fine, I'm a graduate, go get a job. And I got a job in a shop and failed. Again, I'll own that. And it was rightfully so. It just, as much as I like picked up, learned, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself with it, just given the context of the learning. But two, it was like, there's a difference between kind of doing it on your own and some of the different shop stuff. It became glaringly obvious as far as, say, quality of work, certain pieces, stuff like that, that just I didn't know. So I remember I got demoted to apprentice there.
Oh,
rightfully so, which is like just, crushing. And as mad as I was about it then, looking back, it was right. Like I did have still stuff to learn, but like I think I lasted there another month and a half. I had an ex that was I was gone all the time between the other job I then took on to try to make money and that. And she was pressuring me to stop tattooing because I was never around and stuff. And at that point, I was pretty discouraged, so I stopped. And after about like 6 or so months of not doing it, a couple buddies were like, well, dude, come on, like, give me an idea to do that. And I was like, I don't know. And kind of did it again, was like, dude, what am I doing? Like, I missed this. And then I ended up getting a job down in Denver at a little shop. And that was through like a friend of a friend hit me up. It was like, hey, we need an artist. Like, I've seen your stuff. And I was wrong. Like, I don't know if I'm able to do this. Like, he's like, listen, man, like, I'll help out and different stuff. Like, I'll get your foot in the door. And I went down there and I just kind of put my nose to the grind and was like, all right, you're going to throw yourself into this 100%. So I was, reading any books I could find. I was doing that before, but like I took it down even harder. I was doing art all the time and, trying to pick up everything I could from any artist in there. And luckily, a lot of really nice guys to give me a lot of guidance and whatnot. And so from there, it was a slow self-learning process. But, as much as I would advise others to not do the route that I did, you know what I mean? I could have been probably skill wise and whatnot where I'm at now years and years ago if I would have done it the right way. But I'm happy where I'm at now. It gave me a lot of context, experience, and appreciation for it as well. So I can't really be too bitter. Everyone has a different path. So I'm just grateful to be where I'm at now.
Yeah, it seems like people that have the kind of, I guess, not perfect like A to B story, they didn't like just it wasn't a straight line, it was ups and downs, turn out to be better artists and have so much more of an appreciation for the craft. And I think it's just from going through the hardships and understanding like how much you enjoy this. And when you're down at that bottom, when it's not working out how you want to, when you get to that peak, you're like, oh my God, you're like, that was a lot of work and a lot of dedication, but look, look how amazing your art is now. It's really good. So
Well, thank you. I mean, dude, it comes down to like how bad you want. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's still plenty of like, say apprentices I'll see where they're like, I am putting in the time, or like, I do want this, but it's like your effort shows, your progress shows. Because like even when I was, scratching and stuff, it's like, dude, I did heavy research into even like, sterilization stuff before I even fucking did my first one on me. But like I looked at it, I was like, okay, no, I tend to get like obsessive if I hyperfixate on something, so whether that's been music in the past, art, tattooing, it was just like and I still have that. Like I still am always trying to learn. I'm in art classes all the time. I'm exploring different stuff, new mediums to just try to get better. I never want to look back each year and go, wow, I'm in the exact same place. Like I'd rather look back and be like, wow, I sucked a year ago, dude.
yeah.
I gotta get better again.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to be, man. Because I know there's a lot of, it's very easy to just get complacent and kind of stuck in a rut, and you just kind of go in, do your thing, leave, and you're like, well, and like I said, a year later, you look back, you're like in the exact same spot. You're like, dang, why am I not getting better? Like, what do you mean?
Try to improve.
Yeah. So you apprenticed at this shop, or you left that shop when you got back into tattooing.
Yeah, like I followed my mentor when he got booted out of that one shop. He was out of his apartments or house or other different random little spots. But after that, yeah. So that shop, I couldn't say that I apprenticed at that shop or under that shop. It was under him.
Got it. And when you graduated your apprenticeship, where did you go from there? I mean, are you still in the same location where you originally started?
Technically,
move around a lot.
So that was up in Fort Collins, where he was at and around, and like kind of the northern Colorado Fort Collins area. Pretty much, if you're in like Fort Collins, Loveland, or Greeley, or like the other small cities around that, it's all pretty much like a homogenous area. You know what I mean? So other than like basing out of there, I had the year down in Denver, which I think was 2015 or 16. One of those two. But that was like, my ex, she got a job down in Denver. We were planning to move down there. I was like, you know what? I can still do the music stuff, even though it's based in Fort Collins from there. That doesn't upset me too much. Let's do it. And long story short, like that relationship didn't work out. So, I was commuting from Fort Collins to Denver for a year, which was,
Oof.
yeah, like I-25, if you've ever been out here, man, it's always under construction. It was hella bad back then. So there were days where one way, that'd be a 3-hour drive.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was like, by the time our relationship was starting to be like fledgling on that, I was like, well, dude, I ain't moving to Denver. So, I told those guys, I was like, hey, I'm happy to come guest spot. I appreciate the time here. I just can't feasibly keep driving down here and whatnot to make this work. So that's when I found a booth in a little private studio up in Loveland and was there for, I want to say, like 6 months or 8 months before me and that guy went in on trying to open a little shop in Loveland as well. Long story short on that, the location, the building was so fucked, man. Like, yeah, we had to get out of there by the end of the year. I think we moved in there in like March or April, and we broke the lease by December because it was like leaking like crazy. Yeah, dude, like we had like an ice waterfall in the back, like wall one day. We had, like sewage coming up from the floor vents and stuff from the restaurant next door. Yeah, it was just one of those things where we were like, yo, we can't operate here. Like this is so
yeah.
safe. And then after that, we shut that one down. I opened up the first Vegas-ear location, just a small little private, studio, hole in the wall type thing. And it's kind of just progressed since there.
Nice, man. And so when jumping into like your own studio, like what was that like? 'Cause I know that it's can sometimes be hard to make that jump because you have, especially if you're, I mean, I guess you're still in the local area that you were, but I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot when you actually take on the business side of it as well as being an artist and drawing and dealing with clients. Like it's more than a full-time job. So like what was that experience for you? Because I know, again, we talked last time about having a good work-life balance. And sometimes that doesn't happen.
So it was so honestly, like when I opened that one up, I had been thinking about it for a while, but in all fairness, it's like after failing out of the first one, kind of, my confidence level wasn't with it. Like I mean, dude, I even still struggle with this now. It's like, am I a real tattoo artist? Like I didn't do all the things some other people did and stuff, but like I had the idea in the back of my head, but signing, say, like papers and like leases is always intimidating, insurance, all that stuff. But luckily, I also do have a minor in business from CSU.
Nice.
So that gave me at least a little understanding. I'd say like a little, you know what I mean? Like experience real world is always different than school. But it just kind of like at that time, I was like, okay, you know what, dude, like, why not do it? You've thought about like, it like this for a while. It's not too different from like you already run all your own stuff. I always did, booth rent things. So like I was always in charge of my own, social media, marketing, bookings, etc. And by this point, I had already amassed enough material stuff, everything where I'm like, dude, I could outfit this. I need a couple things, but let's, they say like, you'll never truly be ready for stuff. You just got to jump in at some point. And so I was like, you know what, this is the time. Worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to go, nope, this didn't work. How do we reassess? And then I'll learn the lesson and hopefully have a better footing from there on out.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite I guess sayings is you're usually never ready. I mean, there's never the perfect time. And I mean, in all aspects of life, definitely with starting in your own studio or your own business or anything. Everyone wants to be at like the perfect condition where they know they're not going to fail. It's like, that's unrealistic. That's never going to happen. You just got to jump in. And as long as you go 100% balls to the wall, like you have a good shot of making it at least better than not doing it at all and staying where you're at. So, yeah, it's hard for people to be uncomfortable for sure. And that will definitely make you uncomfortable.
Dude, no doubt. I mean, it's like, yeah, there's different, like, it's kind of your perspective on it. You know what I mean? It's like, what's another good saying that I just had in my head? It was the courage isn't being fearless. It's courage is being scared, but doing it anyway. And I kind of like that because I was like, dude, I don't know, but like, I mean, dude, there's plenty of stuff still where it's like, just all right, I might not know exactly every little aspect, but I at least have faith in myself that I've got the drive and follow through to figure it out, and do what needs to be done.
That's 90% of it, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's again scary, but if you're the kind of person, if you're an artist that wants to start a studio, if you want to start apprenticing, as long as you put everything into it, you're probably going to succeed, at least at some level. And if you fail, then you just learned. That saying, you don't fail, you learn. I mean, it was an experience. I guarantee you won't do it twice,
Oh,
so
right.
you take those lessons and then try it again.
Well, it's like, dude, no one wants to fail. That sucks. It's never a good feeling. But failure is where you kind of learn some of the best lessons. And you can't be afraid to fail. You should be more afraid of not getting back up.
Yeah, I've definitely learned more lessons in life from failing than from succeeding.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Oh yes. But it's, I mean, as far as say like the industry, apprenticeships, or just kind of life in general, it's like you get out of stuff kind of what you put in, so it's like, and it's not going to always be right away. You know what I mean too? Like, I mean, I still have people that I've known for years have known me through the whole starting my little shops and getting, up to the fully expanded one that I've got now. And when I first started opening the new location, they're like, man, it's crazy. It's so cool that you like suddenly just out of nowhere own a shop. And I'm like, this is not out of nowhere, bro. Like this has been 5 years in the making, like lots of work. Like, yeah, dude, it's just crazy how that just happens out of nowhere. I'm like, man,
yeah. Everyone always thinks you're an overnight success, but they don't see the 5, 10, 15 years of work that you've put into honing your craft and getting everything ready. And you see it all the time, especially on social media, like somebody all of a sudden blows up. They're like, oh man, overnight success. No, they've been doing this for 10 years. You're just learning about them now. And they're just,
off, man.
It does 100%, man. And I've known very few overnight success, like I could count on one hand overnight successes, and just right place, right time. 99.9% of us are not going to be that. You can be successful, but like you said, there's 5, 10, 15 years in the making of being that overnight success.
Right. Like you create your own luck, right?
Yes. So when you were looking for an apprentice, how did you go about that? Because that's something I talk to shop owners about all the time, is they can't find good apprentices. They find people that don't want to work, or, again, they'll come into a shop and like, hey, can I apprentice? Do you have a portfolio? No, I don't know how to draw. That's a problem.
Prerequisite, but here we are.
Yeah.
So oddly enough, it's like, so the one I've got now, I wasn't looking for an apprentice. Like I was not. Couple years ago, I had apprenticed one of my good buddies who was in a band with me. And like it went on for a while. Like he could have been very successful at it, but by the end of his like time there, he just kind of was like, dude, I don't have the time to give this 100%, and I've got too much respect for the industry, for the craft to do that if I'm not 100% in. So he stepped away. And that was tough, then, especially since he's still one of my best friends. But I kind of, after that, I was like, I'm not apprenticing. No. I was like, no, that was a lot of stuff and a lot of, just time and whatnot. But the girl I'm apprenticing right now, Ymir, she came in to get tattooed one day on kind of just a little walk-in day that I had going on. And she was just, she could bullshit with me and whatnot, which was fun. Like I was like, all right, you're fucking cool. And then it kind of came up that she also did art. And, a lot of times people are like, yeah, I do art too. And they'll pull some up and you're like, oh, that's okay.
Here's my stick figure.
Yeah, but like, dude, she pulled up some shit and I'm like, oh, fuck, you do art. Like, your shit. I was like, damn, this is actually pretty good. Like, do you have like a portfolio together or anything like that? She's like, I actually have one in my car. And so she brought that in, and like I was looking through it and like, dude, she had hit all like the little like check boxes of like, don't ask for an apprenticeship, like, you know, come get tattooed first, like actually be good at art and show understanding of that. Like everything that I didn't tell her to check boxes for, she did. And so that's when I was like, yo, have you ever thought about tattooing? And she then, you know, came clean. She goes, actually, yes. And like, you know, really wanting to like get into it and everything. And like, she's like, I didn't want to like come out and say it, not, but like, you know, this is where I, you know, my first choice of where I'd want to apprentice. And I was like, well, dude, I've got to wait to get the bigger studio going, just so one, I've got room and everything like that for you. But dude, I'd love to take you on, you know, when that comes about. And she's been killing it, man. She just got on practice skin and she's already fucking slaying it. Like she's gonna do great things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like most of the stories about finding like great apprentices are when you're not looking for them. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
it seems like.
Well, dude, it's like I get messages all the time. I still do here and there where it'll be like someone I've never met, never heard of anything. They're like, yo, I want an apprenticeship. I'm like, I've never seen you before. Now you had never even come in and gotten tattooed, nothing like that. Like, no.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, she's a cool girl. She's got great skills, and I'm really excited to see, you know, where her journey leads her.
Nice, man. When do you think she'll actually be tattooing?
So it's hard to say the exact dates, but dude, if she keeps slaying it with the practice skin here, it's like I'm hoping to get her on skin in not super long. Like yeah, dude, she adapts so fucking quickly. It's insane.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, sounds like you found a good one.
Oh yeah, proud mentor right here.
So with expanding your shop and bringing in more artists, do you know who you want to bring in? What is your, I guess, process to find new artists going to look like, if you know?
So it's like I've kind of got an idea here because it's like I've got homies from the convention circuit and stuff around the country that have asked about guest spot stuff, and in the past I've been like, yeah, dude, I don't have the space. I'd love to get you out here, but I just don't have the room. So getting more of those guys in will be fun. But like as far as I don't have like exact people, I've got more so like the type of person. You know, like my buddy Don, who's working there now, he's got it's kind of like your mentality, your mindset. I want people that are art driven and focused, you know, so it's not just, you know, you're just slapping tattoos on people. It's like people who are really trying to do something like unique, cool, different, like really have a lot of passion for the, you know, like art behind it. And then people who are self-sufficient, but team players. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to babysit anyone. I don't want to have to deal with that. Like, the idea and my goal behind expanding was to be able to give other artists a place that could, you know, give them the things that I was able to give myself in my private studio. You know, so it's like a nice high-end studio that you can work out of, kind of do your thing, for the most part, be your own boss, just, you know, but then we can all help build each other up, learn from each other, and, you know, hopefully have fun while we're doing so.
Nice. So the two things I get asked all the time, because we do marketing for tattoo studios, and I've talked to them, and the two things I always get asked: do you know how to find good apprentices? Do you know how to find good artists? Because we need more of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're rare. It's like a diamond in the rough. But talking to people that do a lot of conventions and know and have this giant network, it always seems to be easier for them to, you know, just come out here and guest spot for a week. And they come out like, wow, I love it here. And then, you know, within a few months, or 6 months or a year or something, you've got a studio full of amazing artists that you already know that they're good people. You already know they do good work. It seems to be the best way to go versus posting something on like Facebook or Indeed, or getting people to actually apply for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to still try to push out some, you know, ads like that just to kind of see. But the hard part is like, yeah, man, like until you kind of spend that much time with someone, it's hard to feel it out completely. So I think the like route that I'm going to take with this is like with any of the say applications that come in from stuff like that, you know, bring them in for an interview, see if they have the right like mindset and like, you know, personality and whatnot to fit in and all that. But even still, then bring them on as like, you know, hey, let's try this for a month. You know what I mean? See if this is a good fit. And then at the end of the month, you know, you can kind of reassess because it's got to be a good fit on both ends. You know, they've got to fit in with us, but we've also got to, you know, vibe and fit in with them too. So I think that's going to be my plan. You know, I'm going to be pretty discerning about anyone I bring on, but hopefully, you
Yeah,
know,
especially
out in the universe, I'm going to find those good people.
oh yeah, I have no doubt, man. I have no doubt. That's one of the things I do as well when I hire somebody new is there's 3 months probation period. Because by the end of, you know, a month, 2 months, like the actual person starts coming out, not the, hey, I'm on my best behavior because I got this new job. Like you actually get to see their mannerisms and personality and quirks is a good way to put it.
Right.
Which can sometimes be a little, you know, like you just don't fit in here great. You're not, you're causing chaos. Get out.
You know, like, and that's, I mean, dude, and it happens. It doesn't mean like that those people are necessarily bad people or anything like that too. It just, again, might not be the right fit, which is totally cool. But yeah, you gotta, for the best of both parties, figure that out, you know. So I think the probationary period is a good call.
Definitely. So going back to your style, seems like you do a lot of black and gray work and then black and gray with, I called it trash polka, just the coloring, not the actual. It's this, you know, it reminds me of the same color red. How did you, I mean, what were your inspirations? I know metal, stuff like that, but also seems like there's horror movies in there. There's maybe some mythology in there, different kinds of things. What do you draw inspiration from?
So like a lot. Obviously, you know, all the stuff mentioned above, but like, you know, so like the I've always like drawn in pencil, charcoal, stuff like that. Even when I paint, it's mostly in black and, you know, gray. But it's hard to like pin stuff down because it's like, dude, I can draw inspiration from the music I listen to. I can draw inspiration from other artists I've seen, you know, like you know, there's some amazing bio artists like, you know, Toxic, Jesse Levitt, Jeremiah Barba, Brandon Herrera. There's so many, and I love all of their work and everything. So they've all been huge inspirations for me as far as like the dark bio style. And then even just like thematically, then yeah, like there's definitely some kind of ancient stuff. I've studied a lot of ancient history and religions and stuff, so I always find that stuff fascinating. And then yeah, just even nature, man. You know, like with the bio stuff, you know, there's charcoal drawings or other stuff I've seen where it was like, you know, I'm out on a hike and I see a piece of, you know, like fucking driftwood or something like that. I'm like, oh shit, look at that. And I'm going up with my phone and like taking all these like pictures and shit. And like whoever I'm with is like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? I'll bring it back. And then like I make some kind of weird looking alien thing based off of that, like whether it's a flow thing or like texture or something like that. So it's like yeah, I can kind of find a bunch of different stuff, dude. Even just dried peeling paint can sometimes be like, you get close up on that, you're like, oh, that texture's sick. Like I could use that somewhere.
So when someone comes in to get a consultation with you or get tattooed by you, do they just kind of give you a general theme? Like kind of what they want? Like, I mean, I'm assuming a Hellraiser and the alien person was actually like, hey, I want a Hellraiser and an alien. You're not just like putting it on them.
Yeah.
But a lot of this stuff does seem like there's a lot more detail and I guess artistic ability in it than what you would normally get from a client just being like, hey, you know, it's usually not that detailed when they tell you what they want. There's kind of a general theme, but how detailed do you get, I guess, with them, like their ideas and what they want?
So especially now, it's like I'm lucky enough where most people, if they're seeking me out, they're looking for, you know, my specific stuff. So I always ask people, I'm like, one, are you familiar with my work? You know, it's like if they just came in and they're like, I want a portrait of grandma. I'm like, yeah, dude, that is not like the move. Like,
Not for me. Not for me. Yeah.
grandma and make her look like the devil. Dude. Like, unless that's maybe, but like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to disrespect grandma. But I'll ask them, are you familiar with my work? Most people are. And then it's kind of like the way I design stuff is usually based around where it's going on the body, because like the flow and fit to the musculature and all that is huge. So I usually ask people, I'm like, okay, if it's the dark bio stuff, I'm like, okay, as far as for a theme or like, focus, do you like skulls, demons, or like aliens and creatures? Pick one of those and then I can kind of run with that. Or like say the Hellraiser, Xeno like sleeve thing that I started. I actually just did the inner bicep on that a couple days ago.
Nice.
Did John Carpenter's like the thing, inspired deal. It's gonna be so cool. I'm so hyped.
That's awesome.
He's like, dude, I love your style. I would love to do like a horror sleeve mashup of different characters and shit, but like with how you do your dark bio stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm in. But like from there, I just asked him like, hey, so I do require a pretty decent bit of creative freedom. It's like when I put like, say, certain elements in there, it's not just to be like, yeah, this has to have a spike here or something like that, or you need spikes in this. It's like this spike might be adding the flow to, a certain area of this or like framing something. So, pick your kind of theme thing and then I'm going to run with it to best fit you on stuff. If they come in and they're like, hey, I really like these 3 pieces you did, I'm looking for a creature though. It's like, okay, cool. Like I can mess with that. Like as much as I can kind of get in their head for it, the better it can kind of be. And I'm lucky enough, dude, I'm eternally grateful for the, trust and whatnot that my clients put in me. And it drives me to really put in a lot of love and effort into making something cool for them.
Yeah, you can tell the amount of passion you put into your work again by looking at it. It's different level, man. It's pretty amazing.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. So being such a niched tattoo artist, I know you said you have people coming to you and like that. When you first got started, how was that? Because I got to imagine before you're actually known for your art, trying to do pieces like that, you need a certain client,
Oh, yeah.
What was it like before you were, known for your work and have people coming to you?
I mean, dude, I'm pretty versatile. Like, dude, I messed with most styles, at least a little bit, and that comes from like, people hit me up like, hey, I want a tattoo. It's like, I want a watercolor thing. I'm like, okay. And so I was like, I'll figure that out. Or like, I want, a portrait of this person. I'm like, okay, I'll figure that out. And like, did that for years, kind of taking on kind of whatever and trying to like be as like, almost like rigid and strict on what they asked for, so I was kind of keeping myself in a box. Like I'd draw and do my own stuff on the side, but like, I wanted to please people. I wanted to get them, what they wanted. And like, luckily enough, through, school, playing in metal bands out here and whatnot, like I was able to find people to get tattooed, get my skills up and everything. And then, every once in a while I get to do like, one of the pieces that I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I'm like, I'm so excited about this one. Like, not to say I'm not excited about any piece I do, but like, the ones where I'm like, dude, yes, I get to do, one of these ones that I'm really wanting to do. Like, this is going to be sick. And then good, probably 5 years ago or so, I started like, through some good buddies and whatnot being like, hey, like, if you really just let me like do my thing, like pick like, theme kind of deal or something like that, but I want to do the, bio stuff, like I'll hook it up. And getting that examples out there kind of helped. But like, I've been lucky enough, man, that it's like word of mouth has been huge. I'm grateful to say it's like usually if I tattoo someone once, good chance I'm going to tattoo them again. And good chance I'll end up meeting their friends if they send them in and stuff like that, or family. So it's been kind of a pretty organic growth and whatnot through that.
And that's one of my favorite things about tattooing and being an artist and the word of mouth thing. Like, as long as somebody obviously likes the work and has I mean, even if they think the work is mediocre, if they really like the artist, it's so easy to grow. I mean, that person is a walking billboard. Everybody, when they get a tattoo, is so proud of their tattoo. They show everybody. So one of the craziest things to me is when a shop has been around, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place. I also have ADHD.
No worries.
Has been around for 10, 15 years and they still can't gain any traction. And you're like, it's probably you. You know, it's probably the artists. People probably aren't having a good time in the studio. And then you see the exact opposite of that. Somebody that does amazing work, that's a super friendly guy and has been able to, you know, really do exactly what he loves and not have to, you know, and have people come to him. It's just a stark difference. And I think if any shop owner or tattoo artist really wants to make this a career, I mean, you after a certain amount of time, you can more or less live off, you know, reoccurring clients and people telling their friends if they had a good idea. And I really wish that aspect of being a tattoo artist was taken more seriously than it is, because obviously it's about the art.
Oh,
But yeah,
but
being a good person. Yeah.
Dude, so it's like I remember, granted, and this is like if you think about it back in the day, before like say Ink Master and tattooing became a little more mainstream and all that, like dude, if you wanted a tattoo, you had to go to the shop. It might be the one in town. You know, if that guy's a total dick, it's like, guess what? If you want that tattoo, you get to deal with that. And you know, so that was just kind of a thing. I always looked at it where I was like, dude, how can I approach this, you know, from like, how would I feel good if I were in their shoes? So it's like, you know, if things irked me or bugged me from when I first started getting tattooed, how can I do the opposite of that? You know, it's like, instead, like, you're not just giving them a tattoo, you're giving them an experience as well. You know what I mean? Like, for tattooers, it's like, we'll tattoo so many people, and it's like, you know, if I sit with someone for 8 hours twice, I might not remember every bit of the conversation that I had with them, but they will. You know what I mean? And in all fairness, there's not a lot of jobs, career stuff like that where you can sit with someone for a day and stay with them for the rest of their life. You know, so it's like if you knocked out the sickest tattoo, but they were feeling unwelcome, awkward, or like, you know, just you were shitty to them or something like that, you may have done the coolest tattoo ever and they might fucking hate it. Like, so you know, I want people to feel welcome, feel excited to be there. Like, it's not just, you know, hey, this is like your tattoo day, whatever. It's like, nah, dude, it's your fucking tattoo day. Like, this day is about you. We're gonna have a good old time. Like, you know, this will be a blast, you know?
Yeah. And that's huge, man. Cause you know, I'm not a tattoo artist. You know, I obviously enjoy getting tattooed.
You got a couple.
But I got a few. But I've been on both sides of that, man. And you know, first time I got tattooed 18 years ago, like it was very much like, this is the shop, sit in the chair, get tattooed, now get the fuck out. Versus, you know, the people that I've gone to, like there's a guy here in town now that he's been tattooing me for 10 years. Does great work and is the nicest guy in the world. And he's the only shop in town in the last 10 years. He started just in a room by himself. Now he's got, I think it's like 2,500 square feet, 7 artists. And it's the only shop in town that has grown at all in 10 years. And it's because of, I mean, they do great work, but the atmosphere, everybody loves them. Everybody loves the artists in there. And that's just that. Again, you could do mediocre tattoos. You should always aspire to be the best. But if people like you, man, they're going to come back. I have seen some shitty tattoos and people go back to that exact same artist that does the shitty tattoos because they really liked them. They felt welcome. They felt, you know, like they were, like you said, it was their day, because it's a big deal when you're the person getting tattooed. You gain this thing on you for the rest of your life. So I think if more artists, you know, played into that, I guess, and it's not like, you know, be this overly phony, happy person, but make these people happy. You know, it's a big deal to them. There would be less need, honestly, for what I do, which is mostly online marketing,
Right.
because more people would be coming back and bringing their friends and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, dude, like think about it. It's yeah, like you could be again like the greatest artist ever, but if you don't make people feel welcome, it's like that it doesn't matter. You know, you're putting up a wall. Like I remember meeting, you know, like as a kid, like being a metalhead, like there were some bands that I loved. And then when like saw them live, got to like meet them at the merch booth or out front of the venue, and they were just conceited dicks. And instantly it's like it was tough because like, dude, even listening to music, then it's like you have this bad taste in your mouth of like, yeah, this is a rad song, but this guy was such an asshole. But then like, you know, you've got other ones like, dude, resoundingly amazing example. Dude, I remember first meeting Cannibal Corpse when I was like fucking 15. Dude, you think like, oh, death metal, like brutal, gnarly guys. No, they're the fucking nicest humans on the fucking planet. Like they're
No
both
shit.
corpse guards just cracking jokes out front of the venue and stuff. And like, I liked Cannibal Corpse at that point, but that was like a different point where like, dude, now I fucking love Cannibal Corpse. Like, you know, and I have for years and years, but like the difference on that, it's like, dude, some of the bands that were dicks are like, they're big name bands that are cool. Like I won't mention names on that, but like Cannibal Corpse is fucking here, dude. And if they're cool and like super nice and just like stoked for everyone to be there and all that, and everyone having a good time, it's like, dude, you're not that cool. You know what I mean? Like you're never too cool to make people feel included, you know?
Yeah, agreed. 100% agreed. Make it feel included, comfortable. Again, it's and tattoo artists are, especially for someone that doesn't have a lot of tattoos, or they've, you know, maybe just a couple of them, and they're going to a new artist, like it can be an intimidating experience. I mean, again, tattoo shops are still taboo in a way. It's gotten way better, obviously, over the last 15 years, like night and day.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still scary to go in there when you don't know anybody and see a bunch of tattooed people. And if they don't, you know, they don't feel welcome, or, you know, like you're friendly, that's an issue. That's a problem.
For real. I mean, like that's where I think there always should be like some slight element of fear to a tattoo.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, Joshua Carlton. But it's like it's not to mean like you should be afraid someone's going to like hurt you or fuck with you or anything like that. But it's just kind of that this is like, you know, oh, this is, you know, uncharted territory. There's the nervousness of getting stuff done. But dude, us as artists, we can kind of help guide people through that. You know, that's even with the consultations. You know, I require one either in person, preferably, or via Zoom before I'll book an appointment or take any money from you. And that's one. So, like, you know, I can talk with you, feel you out. You can feel me out. We can see if we vibe too, because we're gonna be sitting with each other for a bit. So, like, you know, but like, yeah, man, it's. I just always like, you know, going back into when I first started getting tattooed, it's like, not to say anyone was like overtly like mean most times. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of shit that did happen, but a lot of it would even be, it's like you're going in to get tattooed, you're like super hyped, you're like, I'm nervous, and you'd be in there and it's like you're paying a bunch of money to get tattooed, but like they're not even like talking to you, they're like talking over or around you, and it's almost like you're a burden or an annoyance for being there, even though that you're the one paying them to get this done. And I was like, that's I don't think I like that. How can I change that? You know what I mean? Like give it a better experience overall.
Yeah. Like you said, you're with them for, I mean, 4, 6, 8 hours, multiple days, obviously on some of your bigger pieces. Just sitting there awkwardly is terrible. I've had that experience as well. Well, they're like talking to other artists and you're just like, well, this is weird. I don't know what to do.
Am I supposed to be here? Is this okay? You know, like that kind of feeling where it's like, dude, I don't want anyone to feel like that in my studio.
Yeah. Well, you seem like a super friendly guy, and I'm sure people don't, man. Connor, I was gonna say I've taken up about 50 minutes of your time, but now I've taken up almost 2 hours since the first podcast.
I'm happy to be happy to be.
Was a disaster. Yeah. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah, I thank you a lot, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. You're a great artist, seem like a good dude. And I really like the conversation we just had about, you know, making people feel more comfortable. Because again, it's it's a big part of it. It's a big part of any artist or any studio if they want to grow is, getting new clients is great, but those reoccurring ones is, they take no more effort. They've already been in a chair. You've already tattooed them. And if you don't have a bunch of reoccurring customers or clients, you're probably doing something wrong. So, yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome, brother. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate this opportunity. Enjoyed talking with you, and hopefully we can do it again in the future, man.
Definitely. And one more thing, can you tell people your Instagram so they can go look at your work and your shop name?
Yep. So my shop is Vegvisir Body Art. That's VEGVISIR Body Art. And that's the same thing for the handle. My personal Instagram is Necronomicon. So think the word Necronomicon, but just add NOR at the end.
Got it. Awesome, Connor. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Take it easy, Jesse. Thank you.